Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. And, well, my first guest this morning is an old friend of the house. He goes way back, Chief Adeolu Ogubanjo. He's president of the National Association of Telcos Subscribers. And, you know, back in the day, in the early days when the whole GSM, the whole new thing was, you know, it was a bit mysterious at that time. Everybody was trying to understand the codes and all of that. But we've been overtaken by smartphones. Now you don't need all those codes anymore. Great to see you, Chief.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Indeed. So you've always been in the background there, your association, that is, taking care of the welfare of subscribers as these telcos from time to time, you know, have given birth to issues that perhaps they need somebody to speak for. You have always been there. Your association and others have always been there for the subscribers. Now we call you this time because the whole national identification number thing that must be linked to your phone, that caused an upheaval in society. In fact, quite frankly, it was a mess, let it be said. But that is my own street language. Maybe you're going to use a bit more corporate language. Give me your impressions of that before we got to where we are now, where they say telcos, that is phone companies, can actually now do what NIN used to do as an exclusive function. Now, it is factual that the authorities have now delegated even phone companies to do the same thing.
Yes. First and foremost, I must tell you that NIN is the National Identification Number. Now, the corporate body that is in charge, the government organization that is in charge, is the National Identity Management Commission. So, what they have done, in view of the fact that I think they had about, up until last week or so, they have just slightly over 1,000 centers. But right now, they have now licensed, because you cannot just do NIN,
yes,
you know, without, you know, being registered to do so by the National Identity Management Commission. So the NIMC now licensed all the telcos. Since they have the facility, in any case, you need to register your SIM, they do your biometrics and all that as well. So,
yes.
And you wonder what they were doing with all those ones before now.
I didn't want to say so, Chief.
That's a tough one.
What were they thinking before? But so, here we are.
And then the BVNs and all that. So they have now licensed all the telcos to create, in order to create additional centers, you know, to register for your national identification number, also known as NIN.
Yeah, because, well, in Lagos.
But that was only last week. It started, you know, honestly, just last week, you know, so.
It started just in earnest last week because the situation, take Lagos, southwest of Nigeria, where we are broadcasting from, and in particular, where we are, it's a location called CMD Road, and it's not too far from another Lagos landmark, the Ikeja City Mall. And if people know this Ikeja City Mall, you're just looking at the NIMC.
Directly opposite, yes.
Almost directly opposite the City Mall in Ikeja. Now, that place was jam-packed.
Massive crowd.
Massive jam-packing. And it didn't look like they were going to be able to meet the deadline. So now, mercifully, they've had a rethink, as you said. Now I can quote the elders. You said, what were they thinking before? It's not me that said so.
I said so.
Even though I said so, and then you reiterated it. One other point, Chief, an area of confusion, perhaps to some, is it's not just Nigerians that live in Nigeria. We also have expatriates, legal residents, maybe even illegal residents. Because it is a national identification number that we're all, you know, looking forward to, what happens to the, I imagine, sizable chunk of non-Nigerian people who are also among us and that also have phones? What's it like for them?
Thank you very much for the question, because a lot of friends have also been asking me about this. All you need is just the codes are there, and it can be done from any part of the world if you have those numbers. However, you also must appreciate the fact that you can also generate from the central registry. If you've already done it, you can do your linkage through those codes that all the operators have been, are telling you to do. Now, if, for instance, you're in the UK and you have a Nigerian number,
okay,
you can still, with that particular, if you have that SIM there, you still, according to one of the operators, you can still also look at all the codes, star whatever hash, and then the NIN number, and then it will still be forward. I mean, it will bounce on the network of the particular operator, and it will be submitted.
Okay, there's a sense in which I understand that, Chief, because if you speak about the UK, the US, Australia, wherever Nigerians are resident, but they have a national number, a Nigerian number, I understand what you've just explained. I don't think that kind of a person will have too much of a hassle to get himself registered. I'm talking about local Nigerian, non-Nigerian residents among us.
Non-Nigerian residents?
Yes, non-Nigerian residents among us that also have a phone. And since why they come into the picture is that the threat was that we're going to block your line or make it unusable if it is not linked to a national ID number. Now, the rub here is that I don't know how easy it is for those people to get a national ID number, because at the form stage, I interviewed one of them, and he said, I said, why didn't you fill the form truthfully? That is to say, you're not Nigerian, you are from Niger, for example. Why didn't you tell them that you're from Niger? He said he did, and they were stumped. And so they said, no, you're going to have to put Nigeria. Maybe because that's the easier one. But what happens to a Cameroonian, somebody from Niger, somebody from Ghana who has lived long here and answers truthfully your nationality, and it says Ghanaian, for example?
Yes.
Apparently, is that a block or not? It's not something we as Nigerians often think of, because we'll just automatically feel Nigerian.
Yes, but I was also at that center, at Ikeja, at Alausa. And the supervisor said, you must declare that you are not a Nigerian. So that was what he told me.
If that is the case,
if it's not,
you must declare.
Because diplomats
of course
should also register. So must a diplomat now tell me he's from Nigeria? No, I'm sure the official has not been properly orientated.
That is exactly the way I felt about it.
Yes.
Because all the embassy staff will not have a problem about what we're talking about here, because the Minister of Foreign Affairs would have made a special arrangements for them. But for those that are working among us, especially Nigerian citizens,
Cameroonians, Ghanaians,
and all those other people that have their own papers, they actually have their own papers. But according to them, I didn't actually follow them to the place, but according to some of them, they said they do not have this ID card you're talking about, simply because the process was stumped, and as you said, it's probably because the official involved was not properly briefed. Yes. There must be a word, there must be something, a solution to the problem. Long story short, they would not give this young man, they would not let him register in the Nigeria identification number project.
Well, the moment you declare, it's just because you are in Nigeria and you are using the Nigerian number. So all that translates, will translate to mean that they just want you to link that phone, that SIM, yes, to
an ID number.
An ID number. And because you have declared, I mean, those are one of the challenges, that you are not a Nigerian. Of course, it will be treated separately on the central registry.
Okay, okay. But that aspect is causing a bit of a problem.
I think it's a challenge
for
and
some
NIN
ordinary citizens who are not diplomats or don't have diplomatic connections. And no doubt NIMC probably needs to speak on that, because I think most of us Nigerians, most people, not Nigerians, most people understand the whole logic behind it. They want the number, the national ID number, to be linked to your BVN, and then to, so your bank system has the BVN. It also has your national ID number, and everybody else that needs it. It's going to be your passport. So it seems like one unbroken stream that is going to make impersonation and forgery and identity hijacking very, very, very difficult.
But up until now, I think the NIMC should actually come up with a policy statement that this is the situation with people who are not Nigerians and have phones. I think there should be a clear-cut policy on that, and a statement, that everyone will now know the situation of things. That if you are not a Nigerian, this is why we said you must register. You must register with the national, with NIN, and then declare that you are not. You cannot fake.
You cannot fake it. But
you
unfortunately, and this is why it's important for NIMC to speak up on this. A quote-unquote, not a smart, but a clever person who just wants to beat the hassle could then just falsely declare that, yes, I'm Nigerian, I'm from Sokoto, I'm from anywhere, and then there will be no problem. But for telling the truth, he says, well, no, there's a problem here.
I think one should take it up at my level.
I think this is something that we could benefit from, in our polity, in our society, because after all, it does have to do with security as well. And when you have people coming forward and saying that they are not Nigerians, even though right now they don't know any other place as a place of residence.
And then you then want them to lie so that they can get the process concluded.
I must say that what you've just said, that was the impression I got, because I tested this particular point. They now said you should put Nigerian. He said, yes. But you know you're not Nigerian. He said, I told them, but they said, no.
I think it won't low-ranking officers.
I'm sure. I am sure it's a low-ranking officer. But you see, this is how, these are some of the cracks, security cracks, that...
you can call them challenges.
Well, yes, challenges. But you see, we're told constantly that every person has a part to play in our whole security business. And in such an important project as this, I think it would do the NIMC a lot of good to have every last lowly official that has anything to do with registering people understanding everything about it and how to handle non-Nigerians that come forward. There must be a statement on it, because right now they're just worrying about us Nigerians. And those other people might not have come as starkly into the picture as this if it hadn't been that we're going to disable phones or SIMs that are not linked to an ID number. Now people will do just about anything to get that ID number, and it might be that by NIMC it's okay for them to get it, but we want them to get it legally. We want them to get it under the law, under the approval of NIMC.
And with the transparent information.
Yeah, because that will also help us.
Precisely.
Because if people are in Nigeria and want to declare, non-Nigerians are in Nigeria and actually want to declare their status, that they are non-Nigerians, and some Nigerian official is inadvertently, inadvertently persuading them or encouraging them or incentivizing them for the purpose that they are there to do the, well, shall we say, wrong thing.
That will be taken.
Yeah, that's something that could be taken up. But as to the capacity, you said at the top, going back to the whole principle of, okay, telcos, you guys can join in then. You're so right. And maybe we shouldn't be looking backwards, but forwards. Just about everything I remember when I went and sorted mine out. The stuff that NIMC did is what the telcos do. Is what the telcos do in registering you. So, you know, it still seems, as a matter of fact, a no-brainer, but they finally arrived at it now. So we're good now. Apparently, the MTNs, Glows, and you know, 9 mobiles, everybody can now register because, as you pointed out, of the licensing
Yes, by the NIMC.
by NIMC to enable them to do so.
Why, you see, before now, hitherto it has been, the telcos have been registering people who come for SIM.
Yes.
But
yes.
all that you can fake a name, you can do anything.
Okay, yeah.
For instance, passports can be faked. Voter's card can be faked. What's the other one? Driver's license can be faked. But because NIN is centrally generated,
That's why it's so important
you
and valuable.
cannot fake it.
You cannot fake it. Every document that you carry, I remember where the last time I renewed, very recently renewed my driving license, they weren't even going to touch the process if I didn't have a national identification number.
Exactly.
So I was, you know, testing the system. So what if I didn't have it? Okay, that's it. You just stop here until you indeed can prove that you are known to the Nigerian security data system.
Precisely.
Then we can begin to look at renewing your license. But for now, it's not going to happen. But as I said, fortunately, just fortunately, I had, you know, come through the process and did have it. Not that it was particularly easy, but because I was caught in the middle of not having the particular SIM, the particular phone with which I registered. One never knows that these things can become important much later on. Yes. So now trying to retrieve that SIM, I now found the barrier that, sorry, NC, they have barred the renewal, the retrieval of SIMs. Then they relented. Then we went back, and everything is back on normal. Good morning, Mr. George. Hope you are registered.
Well, I am, Uncle Yori, but
we're together.
Thank God.
I'm concerned about the whole process. I'm wondering why the government is not interested or does not seem to be interested in in compiling a general database of Nigerians, and then now linking it up or hinging it on the shoulders of telcos, many of whom are not Nigerian companies. MTN, for example, is a South African company. How are you putting the information about citizens of Nigeria in the hands of a South African company? That's the way I'm looking at it.
Okay.
I think that we should be interested in creating our own data bank. Why is it that the national NIMC that gives out national identity card, why is it not in every local government in this country?
Aha. That's the question.
So get people registered and make sure we have a national data. Let's have it, if we cannot do a population census, let us at least start with that one.
Yeah.
Not this, cash and carry method of trying to create data when you want to just use it for a particular purpose. We should have it as a matter of course.
Yeah.
It can reduce crime. When people know that there is a way the government can trace you if you commit an offense, chances are that you'll be more wary about committing crimes in the society. The government should think about this and let there be a clear-cut project on it.
Indeed.
Not these haphazard ones that I'm seeing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. George. I think I agree with him.
That's valid.
And he was talking about it can be used in crime investigation, but not just in crime investigation, for all sorts of purposes that don't have to do with crime as well. It might be determined that they need to know who owns this number. That is being, well, it could be an aspect of crime. Sometimes it could be rescue,
situations,
rescue situations. Who does this number belong to? So all of that is there. But Mr. George brings up that important point about it's a form of national data. And now I understand perhaps the initial thinking where they were going to try and handle it all themselves. But because of the inadequacy of centers, that soon fell on its...
And the timeline or something. That's why they had to now, bring in all other, operators to now join.
With the potential security implications.
Yes.
Sorry, sir, I'll let you continue. Let me take Mr. Yakub, who has also called in. Good morning, Mr. Yakub.
Yeah, very good morning, sir, and then good morning to your guest.
Good morning, sir.
I totally agree with Mr. George. As far as I'm concerned, the program is good, but the time in the sense that we found ourselves in a pandemic situation for now, and then it's the same time Nigerian government allows citizens to go and do all this kind of a thing. If you go there, Chief Yori,
I know.
If you fear for your life and then you believe, if you are one of us that believe that COVID is existent, you wouldn't like to go inside that place.
Very good.
That's
very
number
correct.
one. Number two, what Mr. George says is that why is it difficult for us to have it all over the local government in this country so that individuals can just walk in and get this thing done? Another question is this, Chief Yori, does it mean that these people that are supposed to handle this very particular process, does it mean that every year the Nigerian government do a budget, does it mean that they are not doing budget for them? If they have been getting budget, how are they spending the money? Because
Okay.
I've never set my eyes on that very particular card.
NIMC.
The physical card. They can only give you a slip, and then at the end of the day, they will tell you come back, and then you can never get that card. So for me, I've got my own, although I've done it a long time ago, even though that I just retrieved the number back. But some people have not done it. Even up to today, as if they still extend the time. I can tell you they can't meet up that time because they don't have the facilities.
Okay, thank you very much for calling in. By the way, to start where he ended, it's been extended to April
6th. Yes.
April 6th. And then all the other matters that he brings up. And I like the point that you made, which is that the key thing of NIMC as a corporation and trying to do it itself was that which you pointed out, that you could go before a telco and just lie through the whole process. But you have to go physically. I don't know if it is also possible, if you were so minded, to also lie through the process for getting a registration as well, since it's the same thing. Unless, only a criminal really would go through the whole hassle of getting a genuine but inappropriate, or shall we say, how do you say genuine but illegal? In the sense that you're not Nigerian, but you go in there, you present yourself as a Nigerian because you speak the language, for instance, and we look the same as our brothers from all over the place. And so you actually, so it's possible really to do what you do with the telcos also at MIMC, should that have been your interest?
Well, the only other thing that may be possible is if, for instance, yes, my biometrics will be there, my face and all that, but I will now give a different name, all this mother's maiden name, fictitious names.
Yeah.
But then your biometrics will be
track
captured.
you down.
Will track you down. Again, when the telcos were doing SIM registration about 5-6 years back now, you could, get my face, for instance, and put another name, but I'll be using the number. But here we are, when anything now happens to that SIM, it is the number they will trace.
That's right.
But in this case, with NIMC, they will trace you with your biometrics.
Yes. So it's, and that same biometrics has to coincide with what's in your passport,
and
what's in your driving license,
exactly.
And then there's a central.
Everything is now linked.
Agana, I believe the name is, from Agbado Ejaye. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Quickly, please, go ahead.
Mr. Yori, I want to actually thank you for the point you made, the question of the foreigners. And I want to say good morning to Chief
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you again.
Right, and secondly, I would want to disagree with Mr. George. Because MTN is a company that is owned by South Africans, but predominantly you have Nigerian workers there. So those people, if there's anything, they feel they want to like sell MTN or to be part of it, or probably they want MTN to be part of it, they can insist that Nigerians working in MTN do those registrations. So I would disagree totally with Chief Judge. Thank you very much.
Well, the corollary to that, actually.
Okay, thank you very much for calling. Thank you for calling in, Mr. Ghana. Let's try and address.
The corollary to that, actually, is what if a foreign firm is engaged to do it? You know, that can happen. The fears of Mr. George is probably...
No, Mr. Ghana.
Sorry, Mr. George.
Mr. George, who called in earlier.
Yeah,
okay.
Chief George, is probably that because they are multinational, they could use it for other purposes.
Yeah.
But some informations are encrypted and all that, and I'm sure there must have been a lot of warnings and stuff before they could license them. They have been licensed, you know, and they wouldn't do anything funny.
Okay. Mazi Okorafor, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sayori. Good morning, I guess. You see, Sayori, this issue of registration or no registration is, to me, sometimes when I look at some of this, it looks somewhat like a Chinese issue. Because one, if in a country like ours, we have a data bank, all these things are not necessary. All these are not important. Because in a country like ours, we don't have database. Now you ask yourself, what does it take for a state or a local government to have a database? It's very, very easy. Now you ask yourself, in Nigeria, we have at least, in short, 50 or 60% young graduates that are computer literate that can do all this. But the thing is, can't local government or state government start operating their own database? With their own database, all this is a bygone. Now you see, it is not a question of going to register or not to register. At the end of the day, we end up not getting the real figure of what you are looking for. Even the network providers we are talking about that. Not many people, you see some people have up to 20 lines. You cannot answer all those things. But the thing is that we end up going back to square one. Square one in the sense that even the BVM number you go to the bank with, there are some places you go that they say it's not correct. After you have used the BVM, you go back. This I think that Nigerians should sit down, bring experts and all this. Go to organizations, better establishments like CDC Nana. You people don't need, your staff are not supposed to go out to that place.
Okay.
The NIN is supposed to send people to come there and do it for your own staff. Even your beneficiaries can also do it there.
Okay.
Because other organizations, this will help to reduce all this influx of people going to particular places. Let the organization employ people, by people that will computer, let them collect their listener. Employ them on what they call a casual work. Let them do the job for the government. It will help us. But in as well as when I extend it to 8 weeks, it will not stop there. You end up running this till the end of December.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Mazi. Appreciate your calling in. I noted all his concerns, but I guess the key here is that you have a series of unique identifying numbers that must all link up. In order to get the bingo.
11 digits.
11 digits, which is going to be what your NIN, your national identification number is.
Yes.
But that also has to link up with what you have submitted as your BVN to your banks. And when you get your passport, it's going to be in there somewhere. It's in your driving license. So it's like they're retro-fitting it, and I think it does have value, even though there might be some security.
His concern also is having a data bank. That is what they are trying to now do with all this.
That is what NIMC set out to try to do.
Plus,
but then
of course, the security implications.
Found out it had bitten off more than it could chew. You know.
And then trying to choke up the polity by giving timelines that are not realistic.
They weren't going to be able to, nobody was going to be able to make that timeline. And then you'd come to the matter of who do we now disconnect? Who are the special people that we don't disconnect? And the whole thing will just become a mess. But for the moment, it looks like it's back on track now. Touch wood. See how it goes with the telcos that have been drafted onto it, even though some people still have issues with that. But with all the telcos now being able to do it as well, this is definitely going to give it a push. Somebody mentioned, I can't remember, but because everybody knows the point, I think it was Yakub who mentioned that it's ridiculous in this pandemic time. It's ridiculous in this pandemic time to see the numbers that converged on the MIMC headquarters in Ikeja, which I imagine is going to be the same in all their formations all over the place.
I'm always scared when I go to see them at those centers. I'm always very scared.
It was very, very worrying. I have George in Kaduna. Good morning. John in Kaduna.
Uncle Jody, good morning, sir. Happy New Year, sir.
Good morning, sir. Compliments of the season to you too.
The same thing. My regards to your guest.
Indeed.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Yeah, the question what I want to say is this. This name thing we are talking about.
Yes.
I'm talking about the foreigners.
Yes, okay.
Those who are not Nigerian by birth.
Yeah.
I did my name thing about 6 years ago. The first people that did me about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And the question of foreigner does not arise at that time. Anybody they capture is captured as Nigeria, whether from Nigeria, from anywhere, they capture everybody as Nigeria. There was no question of where do you come from. It is not they're talking about, are you a Nigerian? What of those who did their own earlier time like us, with our time at 5 years ago? And no question was asked. Now, those people, they are not Nigerian, that automatically become Nigerian automatically. So you go to address those issues, people that are captured, that who are not Nigerian, they captured them early enough.
When they were not particular about your nationality. That's the point you're making. Thank you very much for calling in and adding that to the mix because that's a personal sort of viewpoint there,
Yes,
personal experience. As you said, Chief, NIMC is going to have to speak on this.
Yes.
So that we know exactly where we are.
I'll keep you posted.
Yes. The telcos, I think, already have nationalities because a German who goes there and has to fill the form is not going to say he's anything but a German. Exactly. A Ghanaian, Cote d'Ivoire, everybody is going to say the right thing. It's just that when it came to this whole matter of registration is where we dropped the ball a bit, and there have been isolated cases of operatives encouraging registrants to register false information.
Because they are not properly briefed.
Because they don't know what to do if you're not a Nigerian.
That's it.
So that is not good enough.
They just came with a policy, non-Nigerians, diplomats and all that could register because they have phones. But then that will be dealt with.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming on, Chief Adeolu Ogubanjo, President of the National Association of Telecommunications Subscribers, to talk about this whole matter. And as you promised us, you take this observation and bring it up at the fora that you have on the, well, maybe you just need one forum, whereupon we'd get the Ogidi word, and that will then be disseminated all over. Thank you very much once again.
It was my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay, stay with us, please. We'll take a break. We'll be right back, and we'll continue with the program. Okay, welcome back, and thanks for being with us from the beginning, if this is indeed the situation. Let's move on to the whole matter of security now. Borno insurgency, we're hearing that there are worrying tones coming from over there. Let's start off with a video report.
The Boko Haram insurgency in Borno has lingered for over a decade, killing thousands and displacing over 1 million people in the state. The Nigerian army has continued to record successes in the fight against insurgency, which resulted in relative peace being enjoyed in the state. Recently, the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, and the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olunishakin, disclosed that all the local government areas of the state are under the control of security operatives. But the Speaker of the Borno State House of Assembly does not agree with this position. He insists that there is no single existence of civil life or military presence for over 3 years in one of the councils he represents. The Speaker asserts that even though he has been agitating for military presence in Guzamala to enable his displaced people go back to their ancestral home, the council remains a no-go area.
Guzamala is one of the 774 local government in Nigeria. But I don't know if the federal government has reduced the number of local governments in Nigeria to 773. Let the federal government tell us so that we can find where we're going to belong to. Because right now, my local government is completely out of hand.
Abdul Karim Lawan appeals to the new service chiefs to put in their best in restoring civil presence in Guzamala and its surrounding communities.
So I'm appealing to them to police recapture my local government from the hands of this madness.
With this call by the Speaker, displaced persons of Guzamala are hopeful that they soon be returned in their hometowns and return to a normal life. Jesse Tafida, TVC News, Maiduguri.
Okay then, coming from that report now we hear, what the situation is in Guzamala Local Government Council of Borno State, and the speaker there is saying that what he's testifying is that local council is still under Boko Haram and that there's no civilian presence there. And it's just as well, we were reporting earlier that the chiefs, the new chiefs, security chiefs, actually converged in Borno. So that's just as well. Now, this whole matter is at variance with what we are told by presidential spokesmen, that there is not a single, there's nowhere where Boko Haram is in control. Boko Haram, there is no local council. But there you have the Speaker of the Borno House of Assembly saying that it is his local government. And in as long as Nigeria hasn't reduced from 774 local government councils to 773, they should please make sure that they do feel like they are still part of Nigeria. In other words, they want to be liberated from Boko Haram. Okay, we have with us Group Captain retired Sadiq Garba Shehu, our security consultant. Good morning, Group Captain.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for making time for us this morning. This information that the Speaker of the Borno House of Assembly is saying, it directly contradicts what the Minister of Information and other presidential spokesmen have said, that there is no part of Nigeria that is under Boko Haram. And he is now saying that they have not been liberated. What do you think is going on, Group Captain? How would you understand that situation?
Thank you very much. First, I would like to say,
it froze for a moment, but I'm sure we'll get the Group Captain back. It's a bandwidth issue, I would imagine. So as we're waiting, the Group Captain will be helping us to understand what to make of this information that we have.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Okay, hello, Group Captain. Okay, you were just going to comment on the apparent, the different accounts that we have. On the one account, on the one side, the official account is that Boko Haram does not have any territory whatsoever in Nigeria. Now the Speaker of the Borno House of Assembly is saying that his local government, Guzamala, is indeed still under the control. What do you make of this?
This issue, that is the matter of ground that is occupied either by our own forces or Boko Haram, it's a very important issue, because in measuring the success of any campaign, the area under effective control of the enemy or the area under the control of armed forces is a very good index of seeing what the campaign is succeeding or not. But having said that, I don't want to say, what was the largest area that Boko Haram was holding? There is no doubt. As of 2014, 20 out of the 27 local governments in Borno State were under Boko Haram control. This has been corroborated both by sources and international sources. However, we can also remember, because we keep for instance, that around March, February 2015, just before the elections, the then Chief of Army Staff General Minima came out to explain that out of 20, that they would have 3. Now, that is his version. There were other versions that said even as of that time, there were more than that local governments. But what cannot be disputed was that even at the end of the Jonathan administration, it was no longer 20 local governments that were under local Boko Haram. Probably something lower than that. Maybe General Minima has minimized the number, but certainly under local. Then we come to the recent past. In June 2020, I think we had Governor Zulum saying that 5 local governments were under Boko Haram. And then in August, another story started coming out at 17 local governments. In my own opinion, and from the trends, it is not possible to say now that 17 local governments are under Boko Haram. I more align myself as of that June 20 with Governor Zulum that 5. Now we have this little speaker. Again, we cannot throw away what somebody is a local person. He is there. If he tells us that Zamala local government has Boko Haram, I tend to believe him. However, what I want to say here, that is not the military on their own should not engage in this debate whether local government is. And I'm happy they have not responded up to now. And politicians, the political masters, I would also like them to pull back on this debate that there is no local government or there is local government. They are only confusing the military. I don't want the military to get involved in this. The index whether a local government is occupied or not is when the military marches in and invites pressmen to see them, to meet them in Guzamala. I think that is why the military should themselves. What I am saying, however, 2014 to now, certainly the areas under local government, there has been tremendous improvement. But I will refrain from saying that there is no local government being occupied by Boko Haram.
Indeed. Group Captain, could you hold on for a while Mr. Joshua from Irewolede joins us? Good morning, Mr. Joshua.
Uncle Yori, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
The information from the speaker is absolutely embarrassing, but very vital. Uncle Yori, this puts question to this issue of Boko Haram not being an organized army. If they could occupy a whole local government, Uncle Yori, I don't understand. I'm from a local government. I understand what a local government means in Nigeria. If a whole local government is under the control of Boko Haram, and there has been constant denial from the government that no local government is under their control, my question is, what has that speaker been doing since about 5 years now, when the statement has been in town that there is no local government under their control? Again, I asked the question from him, Uncle Yori, where is the local government headquarters, as in the building, that they administer that local government, that federal allocation still goes to that local government? Who are the people they are administering? This is really something that we need to interrogate, but more importantly, getting to the new army chiefs or the military chiefs, whatever. This is now a task for them to approach Boko Haram logically and conclusively. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Joshua. Really, I sort of, in my own way, appreciate the point that was made by Group Captain Sadiq Garbashi, who retired, that he didn't want the army to get involved with all of these in this kind of a debate. The military is all about boots on the ground. They have to determine the situation for themselves. We're being informed about this by the Speaker of the Borno House of Assembly. Maybe this is the way the Army, High Command is also learning about this particular issue. But with boots on the ground, then we will know whether indeed it is Nigerian control or Boko Haram control in that place. And the sooner we find this out, the better. But the Group Captain was advising that he didn't expect the army to or the security people to engage in any kind of debate on this whole matter. Am I right, Group Captain?
Yes, please, you are right. And what are they? I just want to correct something. You see, there's what is called effect enemy over it. Where, for example, when you take effective control, you have Boko Haram running government there, running court, collecting taxes to effective control. But the problem with each one is, he doesn't have to even control this particular Buzamana local government completely for him to scare people. We are thinking about folks who are not armed. So the bottom line is even 5 Boko Haram can scatter that Buzamana local government. You know, they could come the place of further. Just 5. Why I'm bringing this is that if 5 Boko Haram with AK-47 or with RPG, they can dislodge that whole government that nobody can see there. However, talking for boots on the ground, if you want the number of troops to really bring peace and make people to stop going to Guzamala, of course you are not going to bring 5 like Boko Haram. You are not going to bring 10. Yeah.
Okay, Group Captain, you're freezing up again. Let me use the time to respond to Samuel in Ilorin. Good morning, sir, Samuel.
Uncle Yori, good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, my name is Samuel, calling from Ilorin.
Sure.
Yes, Uncle Yori, on this issue of the Boko Haram and insecurity. Hello?
Hello, Boko Haram and Guzamala Local Council of Borno State.
Yeah, this issue of Boko Haram, Uncle Yori, we need to approach this issue logically. Hello, sir.
Please continue.
We need to approach this issue logically. Now, what we need to do in Nigeria now is that if we want to be sincere to ourselves, we need to investigate our military. And I have my own reasons.
Okay.
When this
quickly, very quickly, please. I'm running out of time.
Okay.
I don't even think we can explore that investigation of our military aspect. But let me just leave it, sir. I'm sorry, I can't take more than this. Let me just leave it at the headline from Samuel in Ilorin that, look, we need to be holistic, and it is his recommendation that we need to investigate the military. I think you said, well, we can't take much more than that. We've heard you. But just in case we got back to Group Captain Shehu, it froze up while you were there. Would you like to complete your thoughts, sir? You were commenting on not wanting the military to engage anybody, but to just go there and let them know and let us know what the situation is.
Yes, there is no more empirical evidence that Boko Haram are not in Guzamala than having maybe the Chief of Army Staff or the Div Commander there arriving at Guzamala and calling the priest and interviewing people who are having their normal lives. So
okay, we've completely run out of time, Group Captain. I'm so sorry, really, but we have to end it here. But I do thank you, Group Captain, for coming on the program. So that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.